For our big stats and for the second straight season, the Michigan State Spartans captured the Big Ten regular season women's soccer crown co-champs this year with Nebraska. Pretty remarkable for a program that had never won the title before last season. They are the top seed in the Big Ten tourney. They'll kick things off against 8th-seeded Iowa Sunday in East Lansing, a team they beat to clinch the title on Sunday. And in what is becoming an annual occurrence this time of year, our big interview is Jeff Hosler, the head coach of Michigan State. And Jeff, I was looking back on my notes. Do you realize it was literally 1 year ago today that we had you on, October 24th of 2022. So we have you on again exactly 1 year later. How does the second title compare to the first?
Yeah, well, Dave, we've been celebrating this anniversary, all morning long. It's been on the calendar. So lots of celebrations going on here this weekend, obviously. So thrilled for this group to do what they've done with so much changeover in our roster from so many elite players graduating last year and bringing in a whole new group with half our teams new to our roster this year between our 10 freshmen and 5 transfers. So thrilled to be able to put together the season that we did in such an incredible conference that I think is the strongest across the top to bottom across all Power Fives here in America.
Yeah, it's interesting, like looking at this a couple of weeks ago, it felt like maybe you weren't going to be the ones who would claim the title. Penn State was in a really good spot. They faltered a little bit down the stretch, and then you guys have really played your best soccer here lately, unbeaten in your last 5 matches. What's been the message to your team as you kind of chase this title here, all the while keeping an eye, at least a little bit, I would think, on what was happening elsewhere?
Yeah, I give our players a ton of credit. I mean, to their success last year, it's been a similar story this season. We're just really trying to get them to focus on what we're doing, look internal, focus on the process, and be where our feet are every day. Look, if you focus on trying to go win games as opposed to being your best each day and being best in your performance, then I think some game anxiety will creep in. You start to pay attention to those situations that you're outlining across the league. And so they did a really good job of narrowing their focus internally to us and what we need to do strategically against opponents each time out. And when they did that successfully, we got the 3 points we would need to continue to climb. And look, it's a 10-game schedule. I mean, everyone has to play the 10 games. Our setback came earlier in the season, whereas our opponents maybe came later.
Jeff, I mentioned this when we spoke last year, but for those who may not recall, you took over a 1-win program, and in your second year, you won the Big Ten regular season. So now this is your 3rd year, and you have won it twice. It's a pretty remarkable turnaround. I asked you this question last year, and we talked a lot about the portal and kind of the way that you had been able to turn over the roster. But now that you've done it twice here, kind of what's been the formula as you have turned what was kind of an also-ran program, at least in recent years, into arguably the biggest power in the league?
It's been the people. We have incredible players that we were very intentional in the recruiting process, that we recruited that resembled our non-negotiables as a coaching staff and as a program. They're incredibly committed to their craft, to being better every day, which requires an incredibly high work ethic and rate while being inclusive to all that join. And that family atmosphere that I think so many coaches speak about is really hard to live, because there's also going to be moments where you have to deal with adversity, where you don't see eye to eye, but the respect and admiration you have for each other is going to help be that glue to keep coming back. And I think our players, there's an incredible amount of trust that our players give us, but I think they know that they get that from the coaching staff. They get honest feedback consistently. We see their ability. We talk about how they're continuing to grow and see that, throughout the course of the season. And that every day is the standard. And you got to be able to compete and perform at that level day in, day out. Recover, eat, sleep, wake up and do it all over again. And you have to be in love with this game to have the success that we've had, because it is a grind. And it's not just the season, but the off season. And this group has really just bought into all of those ideals. And, so much of the credit goes to that first group we inherited that had to give me blind trust, because I had 6 weeks to get to know them, get into our first season. And they did that. And that set us on the path for what we've been able to do these last 2 years with back-to-back titles.
We talked a little bit about your journey last year. You're from East Lansing, so you're coaching in your hometown. You, a decade ago, essentially, were the head coach at your alma mater, Alma College, tiny Division III school. You were mowing the grass, lining the fields, working in the recruiting office. I mean, everything. You have to wear every hat out there, working with the basketball team as well. You're a great basketball player in high school. When you think of where you've come in the last decade, what goes through your head?
I mean, it's still surreal. I still pull up to Johnson Fieldhouse where my office is, where, we're fortunate enough as a family to have season tickets growing up, watching games there, although I probably paid as much attention to painting on the glass block from the moisture in there as I did the games at that age. But been a Spartan fan my whole life. Our family has. I was never a good enough player to compete at this level. But was fortunate for my opportunity at Alma College and learned so many great lessons that have just continued to hold true today. Athletics is such a powerful tool for teaching life's lessons and how to deal with adversity. And man, the memories and be able to come back here and be in East Lansing, it just really is. It's a surreal situation. And this community, not only having grown up in it, but now coming back to it after my time at Alma and at Grand Valley, really embodies family to us as a Hosler household and as a coaching staff. And so blessed the fortunate way the soccer community's embraced us as a women's soccer program with the stands that continue to be filled at DeMartin as we were in top 10 attendance this year. So incredible environment. The support's been phenomenal and just a very surreal experience for us.
Coach's program has never won the conference tournament title. How much are you using that as motivation as you head into it?
Yeah, so different than last year. We're the co-champs. Nebraska is equally deserving with the season they've put together. Last year, obviously falling short in the final, something that I still think about. I think this group still thinks about. We know that because we were there last year, that experience is going to help us. I think in the postseason, confidence comes from having those experiences. I think this group embodies that. We've got a very tough slate here in the Big Ten tournament. I mean, all 8 teams are incredible teams. We have to turn around and play Iowa again, who's incredibly well coached with some very talented roster. And, we think about last year often. That's clearly something we want to accomplish here in the next 2 weeks. And if you can add another trophy to the case in the same season with a double, that'd be truly remarkable.
Well, Jeff Hosler, best of luck. Can I book you for next October 24th? Are you going to be free?
I'd love to say it. I'll make sure I set an alert.
All right. Sounds good. We'll tentatively put it on the schedule. Jeff, congratulations on a great season. He was talking about the bracket there.